Before the international military trial at Nuremberg, United States Chief Prosecutor Robert H. Jackson told the court that he not only is appearing as counsel for the Allied powers, but for the entire civilized world. He said, "The real complaining party at your bar is civilization." The responsibility for the aggressive war was clear. Despite Hitler's supreme command over the Nazi Party, the United States, Russia, France, and Great Britain claimed he was surrounded by men who knowingly carried out heinous crimes. The defendants in the dock claim they have never heard of wholesale murders, beatings, tortures, concentration camp gassings, genocidal eradication of whole communities, and the killings of surrendered Allied soldiers. They claim ignorance of their campaign of arrogance, brutality, and annihilation such as the world has not witnessed since the pre-Christian ages.
International Military Tribunal Number 1. The United States of America, the French Republic, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic against the defendants Hermann Wilhelm Goering, Rudolf Hess, Joachim von Ribbentrop, Julius Streicher, Franz von Papen, Hjalmar Schacht, Karl Dönitz, Erich Raeder, Baldur von Schirach, Fritz Sokol, Alfred Jodl, Martin Bormann, Arthur Sessinquart, Albert Speer, Konstantin von Neurath, and Hans Fritzsche, individually and as members of any of the following groups or organizations to which they respectively belonged: the Reich Cabinet, the Leadership Corps of the Nazi Party, the SS, the SD, the Gestapo, the SA, and the General Staff and High Command of the German Armed Forces. Justice Robert H. Jackson, the Chief American Prosecutor, makes the opening statement for the prosecution. The privilege of opening the first trial in history for crimes against the peace of the world imposes a grave responsibility. In the prisoner's dock sit 20-odd broken men, reproached by the humiliation by those they have led, almost as bitterly by the desolation of those they have attacked. What makes this inquest significant is that these prisoners represent sinister influences that will lurk in the world long after their bodies have returned to dust. They are the living symbols of arrogance, cruelty, power, racial hatred, terrorism, and violence. The United States of America presents count 1 of the indictment that all defendants participated as organizers or accomplices in a common plan or conspiracy to commit crimes against peace, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. We will show you the defendants' own film. You will see their own conduct in the course of the conspiracy. Its history is the history of the Nazi Party that grew from the brawling streets of Munich in the 20s. Their aim was the highest degree of control over the German community. Give me 5 years. Today, Germany. Tomorrow, the world. The Nazi Party alone has the right to rule Germany and the right to destroy the enemy.
The werewolf alone has a right to rule Germany and a right to destroy the enemy.
Martin Bormann, last seen alive May 2nd, 1945, fate unknown, tried in absentia, said, "The enemy is to work for us, and so far as we don't need them, they must die."
The enemy is to work for us, and so far as we do not need them, they must die.
German anti-Nazis were the first victims. Medical experiments were standard procedure at many concentration camps for Germans who did not agree with Hitler. Defendant Frick, as Minister of the Interior, directed the Nazi program aimed at aged, insane, crippled, or incurable Germans, the so-called useless eaters. Thousands were committed to special institutions. Few of the German anti-Nazis ever returned. Evidence proved they were murdered because they were useless to Hitler's plans. A most intense drive was directed by Hitler and his Nazis against German Protestants, Lutherans, Catholics. Pastor Niemöller was sent to a concentration camp. Bishop Graeber was beaten up. Hitler inspired vandalism against church property. Nazi teaching was inconsistent with the Christian faith. It was the Nazi plan to suppress the Christian church completely after the war.
The old Christian era lasted but 2,000 years and is a failure.
But with the war, the number of victims swelled to include citizens of all the nations in Europe. Included among the executed and burned were citizens from Holland, France, Belgium, Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Greece, and other countries. But perhaps the greatest crime against humanity the Nazis committed was against the Jews, whom they used as the scapegoat to camouflage their plan to make Hitler God and to make Mein Kampf the Bible.
Goebbels was Hitler's trumpet. Goebbels catered to children, filled them with campaign cries that went to the heart of the Nazi movement. Hate was the Nazi religion. Hate was their battle cry. Hate was their God.
Hate! Hate! And again hate!
Children of tender years were invariably exterminated since they were unable to work. The Nazis endeavored to fool them into thinking they were going through a delousing process. 1,000 years will pass, and this guilt of the Hitler gang will still not be erased. It took from 3 to 15 minutes to kill the people in the gas chamber, depending on the climatic conditions. The Nazis knew when the people were dead because the screaming stopped. After the bodies were removed, special Hitler commandos took off the rings and extracted the gold from the teeth of the corpses. Much of this loot was then transferred to secret vaults of the Reichsbank at Frankfurt on Main. This was genocide, the premeditated destruction of entire peoples. Genocide, the direct result of the Nazis' claim that they have the right to destroy Hitler's opposition. Tomorrow the world, dead or alive.
Hans, I want you to look. Hans, you've got to look. We will look together. This is something we should see. Everyone should see. The whole world should see. Hans, believe it, did you? Hans, look.